Welcome to RankLens. Today, we count down the top 10 most expensive football transfer fees in history. Football's transfer market has exploded into astronomical numbers. Record-breaking fees now reach figures that were once unimaginable. We're counting down the 10 most expensive transfer deals in the history of the game. From unexpected comebacks to continental superstars, these 10 transfers have reshaped the global football landscape. Starting at number 10 and climbing all the way to the top, get ready for a countdown that proves money has fundamentally changed how football clubs compete. Let's begin. At number 10, Romelu Lukaku's move from Inter Milan to Chelsea for $1,115 million. Lukaku had been the attacking focal point of Inter's Serie A title-winning campaign, the centerpiece of their attack, the player they built everything around. He delivered the goals and the presence that powered their championship run across Italy. But Chelsea came calling, and they came ready. With an enormous fee, Chelsea made this move the most expensive transfer in the club's history at the time. It was a return to Stamford Bridge, where years earlier as a young player he'd barely featured, watching from the sidelines while others got chances. Now, with maturity and elite-level experience earned in Serie A, Lukaku was returning to prove how much he'd evolved. The gamble was historic for English football. At number 9, Antoine Griezmann's transfer from Atlético Madrid to Barcelona for $120 million. The story here is absolutely fascinating. Just 1 year earlier, Griezmann had publicly rejected Barcelona's advances, turning them down on the global stage. A year of limbo and uncertainty followed before his release clause dropped to exactly $220 million on July 1, 2019. On that precise date, Barcelona activated it and sealed the deal. Griezmann wasn't joining just any club. He was a reigning FIFA World Cup winner with France, arriving with championship credentials and proven brilliance at the highest level. He arrived in Barcelona as one of Europe's most complete forwards, bringing not just goals but work rate, defensive intensity, and trophy experience. The fee was enormous, the timing was calculated, and the expectations that surrounded his arrival were astronomical. At number 8, Enzo Fernández's transfer from Benfica to Chelsea for $21 million. This deal made headlines immediately. It set a new British transfer record, the highest fee ever paid by an English club. The timing was extraordinary too. Fernández moved in January 2023, making it one of the most expensive mid-season purchases ever completed in football history. What made the fee even more remarkable was the context surrounding it. Just weeks earlier, Fernández had won the 2022 FIFA World Cup with Argentina, holding the trophy aloft in Qatar. Chelsea didn't hesitate to break their own record for a player riding the confidence and momentum of the world's biggest achievement. It was an unmistakable statement of intent from the London club. At number 7, João Félix's transfer from Benfica to Atlético Madrid for $207 million. At just 19 years old, Félix became the most expensive player ever sold by a Portuguese club, a staggering record for such a young talent. Remarkably, he moved directly from Benfica to Spain's top flight without stepping through an intermediate club first, jumping straight from Portuguese football to the intensity and demands of La Liga. Despite the enormous fee and all the expectations it carried, Félix found himself in a tricky situation at Atlético Madrid. Under Diego Simeone's demanding defensive system, he was rarely a guaranteed starter, facing fierce competition for minutes in the lineup. The fee suggested a generational talent. The playing time told a different story. At number 6, Ousmane Dembélé's transfer from Borussia Dortmund to Barcelona for $135 million. This transfer happened under extraordinary circumstances that explain the massive fee. Barcelona had just lost one of the world's greatest players, and they moved with desperate urgency. to find an emergency replacement. Dembélé arrived from Dortmund, having played just one senior Bundesliga season, an incredibly bold signing for such a colossal fee. Barcelona was banking entirely on raw talent and explosive potential rather than years of proven consistency. And they got exactly what they paid for: devastating pace, explosive athleticism, and the ability to be devastatingly effective on either flank. The risk was massive. The player was young, but Dembélé's pure gifts made the gamble worth taking. At number 5, Philippe Coutinho's transfer from Liverpool to Barcelona for $135 million. What made this deal especially significant was the timing. Coutinho moved in January 2018, making it one of the largest mid-season transfers in football history. Liverpool had rejected multiple Barcelona bids for Coutinho earlier that same season, wanting to keep him for the remainder of their campaign. But Barcelona's persistence and financial firepower eventually paid off. Coutinho was supposed to be the creative fulcrum that would elevate Barcelona's midfield and unlock their attack. The fee was record-breaking for a mid-season purchase, and the expectations were enormous. Yet despite the historic investment, Coutinho never fully established himself as a first-choice starter at the club. At number 4, Florian Wirtz's transfer from Bayer Leverkusen to Liverpool for €936 million. Born in 2003, Wirtz is one of the youngest players ever to command a 9-figure transfer fee. Yet he arrived at Liverpool as a proven winner at the highest level. Weltquant Ord Note, architect of Bayer Leverkusen's historic unbeaten Bundesliga title season, a campaign that saw them dominate German football like few teams ever have. That domestic dominance didn't stop with the league title. Leverkusen also won the German Cup, completing a domestic double. Wirtz was central to both triumphs, combining creativity, pressing intensity, and finishing ability in a rare package for someone so young. Liverpool believed his best years were ahead, and they invested accordingly. At number 3, Alexander Isak's transfer from Newcastle United to Liverpool for $445 million. Isak established himself as one of the Premier League's most clinical finishers during his time at Newcastle, a player whose finishing touch was remarkable and consistent. Every chance seemed to find the back of the net. Before England, Isak had already proven his elite goal-scoring pedigree in La Liga with Real Sociedad, where he'd scored prolifically in Spain's toughest league. Liverpool paid TSF Nive $145 million to bring him to Anfield, a fee that reflects his status as a world-class number 9. At that price point, Isak ranks among the most expensive Scandinavian players ever purchased in football history. The fee underscores how elite finishing ability commands the very highest prices in modern football. At number 2, Kylian Mbappe's transfer from Monaco to Paris Saint-Germain for $180 million. What made this move unique was that Mbappé stayed within French football itself. Both clubs competed in Ligue 1. He wasn't crossing continents or jumping between rival leagues. He was moving to the continent's richest club while remaining in his home country. At $980 million, Mbappé became the second most expensive player in history. Who was ahead of him? His new teammate at PSG, a player who just arrived to reshape French football itself. That same summer of 2018, Mbappé won the FIFA World Cup with France, cementing his permanent deal with a trophy earned on football's biggest stage. His rise to $880 million seemed not just inevitable, it felt destined. At number 1, Neymar's transfer from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain for $222 million. This is the transfer that changed everything. PSG didn't negotiate installments or explore payment plans. They paid Neymar's entire buyout clause in one unprecedented lump sum payment of $222 million. The fee was staggering. Neymar became the first player in history to be transferred for more than $200 million. It more than doubled the previous world record, held by Paul Pogba. In a single transaction, PSG reset the entire ceiling of what a player could cost. Clubs suddenly had to recalibrate their entire understanding of transfer values. What had seemed like the absolute maximum became the baseline for the next generation of mega signings. Neymar didn't just move clubs, he fundamentally transformed how the world's richest clubs think about player investment. These 10 transfers tell a story about modern football's obsession with record-breaking expenditure. The fees have spiraled to levels that seemed impossible just a decade ago. Yet numbers alone don't explain the value. Many of these signings delivered trophies, legendary moments, and unforgettable performances. Others became cautionary tales about expensive signings that never lived up to their price tags. What's undeniable is this: the transfer market has become the stage where the world's richest clubs compete for supremacy. These 10 deals, from $11.15 million to $222 million, represent the very top of football's financial pyramid, reshaping teams and challenging records with every new deal. And that's the top 10 most expensive football transfer fees in history. If you enjoyed this countdown, subscribe to RankLens for more.